Get your ballots ready. It's time to vote.
SODO!
What is up, SODO population? As always, I'm your host, Frozen Stratos, and today, we had a pretty amazing piece of news come out of this week's blog. But before that, I kind of wanted to get over a few notes from last week and a few things from this week that we just sort of missed. And this is going to be your Kamen Rider coverage of the week. There's going to be another video all about the Sentai news that came out. So look forward to that later. But for now, let's take a look at last week's blog where we got this guy. And, you know, this isn't so much. We didn't really get too much last week, so I am going to breeze through this just a little bit. This is Shirowe, I believe is how it's pronounced. And he's looking like this guy. It is almost exactly the same figure, except it isn't. It's slightly different. Check this out. So Japan is over on the right, and they left the eyes and stuff and the ears unstickered. And then Shirowe is the one on the left. The major difference is the ears have like this little cutout that's specifically for Japan. And also there's an extra, I guess, molded in circle there on Japan's head. And that is basically just for this black sticker to go around it. So it actually does have specific molding. Like, both of these are technically different, which makes sense since most of these guys are basically the same body with a different head. So it's kind of awesome, or at least expected, for them to give us at least something new. So that's very cool to see here. We also get the accurate center crest detail and how it's different here than it is on Shirowe. And if you want, there is a different belt sticker option, and this will be made evident why later, because hey, turns out you can actually use the body with the rest of the... We've talked about this week after week. It uses the same basic chest swapping gimmick that you can do with everything, except the one on display here, the arrow on display here, that's not his. This actually belongs to Malunis, which is kind of weird because both of these guys are Kyryugers and they got to use the same weapon. That's pretty neat. But hey, if there's a guy who you stole a weapon from and he gets angry, don't get mad if he ends up kicking you and killing you, and taking your nice core ID and shattering it into pieces. I do believe that's basically it for this guy. You can work him around with all the rest of the other, other parts, bits and bobs of the line. So, fun stuff all around. I do believe that's it for Shirowe, though, but that's not it for all the Geats reveals we got. So this one more came out this week, and this is... Oh no, Mary. This is Mary. And he's looking pretty good. What a friendly little guy. He's got they made sure to add in that sort of fluffy pattern on his head, which kind of looks like a brain to me. I don't know about you. But we also got, pink paint over that, and as well as silver paint over the horns. The only other thing to note about the horns is that they, sort of had to carve it out just because this is made for kids, ages, 3 or 4 and up, so they had to round that out. It's fine. I can live with that. Here's his core ID, looks accurate, and also here he is, like, meshing with the rest of the toy line. He's using the shield, or you can put some different pants on this guy. Anything you'd like to do. And now that he is here, we have basically the entirety of Geats' first, I guess episode 2 lineup. This is basically everybody, and here's one with Shirowe. But that's not all you can do. That is not the full potential that these base figures can unlock, because it turns out if you take basically any head, and I mean any head that came from any other SODO figure, you could basically turn them into unofficial versions of entry forms, and I think that's very neat. GMan made sure to note that, like, hey, this is how you can unlock the full potential of the entry forms. And I'd agree, this looks very, very good and very fun as a concept, so I am happy to see his, and, you know, as SODO would say, see his delusions let run wild. So it looks great. I'm so happy for these guys. But that's not all that the blog had to offer. They had a few little notes about the Geats 1, Geats ID 1 that came out. Because, you know, everyone's getting it in hand now. I still haven't gotten a hold of mine yet. But when I do get it in hand, this is going to be very helpful. So there is this little note here that says, hey, these... picking the sticker up from like the little ends, it might make the sticker split. So in order to take this sticker off, you're going to probably want to lift it up from the center. So just a tip for anyone getting ID1 and hasn't stickered it yet, this is something you can do. Also, they made note again that Japan, that's basically going to be his like signature form with the Magnum form. That's like his main thing, and that's why they're so adamant about making a separate figure for him instead of making it possible for you to build him. This is for, I guess, the people who would rather, like, just have them and display them and not, you know, do all the form swaps. And, you know, it really helps if you don't feel like going out and trying to buy an extra one of these, so... hey, it'll add an extra Magnum to your collection once it does come out. So I am, you know, I'm fine with this. I'm looking forward to it. Anyways, they also made mention that, hey, this fist, this green fist, or I don't know why I said green. This fist comes with Tycoon, who is green, but like the permanently closed fist without the accessory holding hole, that is only ever going to be available with him. That is the only release they're going to do of this main fist, and this main fist works basically on everything except for the zombie hand, because the zombie hand is unique to zombie. So this is the only chance to get it. It sucks, but at least they're letting us know. So if you want more of this, you have to keep buying Tycoon. Anyways, I believe... oh yeah, so... they also gave us a little bit of stuff out of the brand new premium Bandai set for this guy, and it looks good. So basically, they got the prototypes in hand, and they sort of wanted to do a little comparison. This is how they look side by side, and he's not the only one that they got a prototype of, like a physical prototype of. Here's the side basher, and this little gallery here answers a few of our questions from last time. Oh yeah, before that though, they did want to make mention that they used a little bit of glitter in this plastic to make it look, I guess, a little more accurate. You know how cars have like this little shimmer to them sometimes? I think that's what's going on with this vehicle. I haven't watched Fies in a hot second, so I don't know if there's like this sparkly little detail on the side basher, but I think it looks good. Here are a few size comparisons. This is just a standard water bottle, so it is pretty sizable. Here it is with Kaiza, perfectly, perfectly in scale. And this is the part that answered a lot of our the one question that we had. Can people ride it? Yes, apparently people can. Like, a figure can fit in there. I know that I have the SIC Kiwami Tamashi one. That one does not have leg room. You can't put a figure in there, but it does look like this is able to make that happen. So that's very nice. Here it is standing up. Like they said earlier, this is basically the same size as this Ryuki release, Genocider. And yeah, it stacks up. It is hefty. So you're definitely getting a lot of bang for your buck out of this guy. Here he is riding it. Here he is, here's Violent Emotion Decayed riding it, because, you know, that's just something you're going to want to do with this. But I do believe that's it for the Fies coverage here. Man, I just love these glamour shots of Violent Emotion Decayed on this. Anyway, oh yeah, he even has that little rocket thing. Cool stuff. Hey, let's talk about this. What is this, you ask? So basically, SODO is running this campaign, 2 separate campaigns. There's a homework campaign and a re-release campaign. The re-release campaign is easy. Basically, you go to their site, you vote on, however many things. Like, they have it categorized really well between X-Aid, build, what have you, all the way down the line. They don't have all of the figures from each of the waves. I do believe they state, like, partway through, their lists that the re-release figures, this is going to happen every now and again. Like, we're going to get multiple releases and multiple tries at this re-release figure vote. So basically, you're voting for what you want out of a re-release release, like a re-release wave. So that's half of it, and that's very cool in and of itself, because like some people weren't able to get like the main riders out of a line. Cool, but the biggest thing is the homework side of it, because SODO knows, they have now officially acknowledged that their coverage has been a little lacking. They're like, for a line that purports to be one of the most complete, they have a lot of major gaps. So here's just a sample of what the, I guess, voting area has to offer. There's 50 different figures or 50 different characters you can vote on for them to make. Now, they didn't make mention of how many of them they're going to be doing. But they did say that these are going to be made using the current SODO specification. The re-release figures, those are just exactly like how they were before. But these figures specifically are going to be, newly molded, brought up to the latest spec. And there are tons and tons of awesome little details in here. 50 different riders and or items. And you get to vote from them. We don't know how many of them they're going to do. And you can vote once per day. I believe either all the way through October or to the 23rd. It's been a minute since I saw it, but like I said, you can vote every day. And if you voted starting the day this began, you got about 15 days, which is 15 votes out of this thing, out of this poll. So definitely keep checking back. There's a link in the description down below to where you can vote. But let's take a look at, I guess, what this vote sort of has to offer. Because what you see before you now are a lot of the, I guess, the another riders that they had never gotten to. But that's not all. And I can't blame you if you didn't see this before, but up at the top, there's something in Japanese. I can't read Japanese, but it reads manhole cover. So, if you've been keeping up with SODO since GO, you'll know that people in the surveys have been asking, begging for this manhole cover that the another Kiva actress used to toss at a dude. Just used to chuck it at a person. I think. It's been a minute. But it was a thing used in the show. They even said, hey, we were thinking, you know what? Would it be possible to make an action figure of the actress to go with it? But they were like, we can't do likeness rights and all that. So, manhole cover. We can do a manhole cover. And that's not all. There are just tons of things. Like, this version of Genom, like this version of the zombie Genom, that's been one of the major missing pieces of that very extensive line. Same for this, what's his name? Paradox form. These have been missing. We've got none of the Go Riders, none of these. There are 2 no images here. One of them is Nico Snipe, and one of them is another version of Game Deus. And there, like I said, there are about 50 of these. No, there are exactly 50 of these. And I will link in the description down below where you can get this poll. But I've also linked in the description a tier list if you would like to, just for yourself, visually rank out all of these choices for yourself. just decide on where to put your votes, however many are remaining. And also, there's this component to it. It's not really for us. This is basically for Japan, where it's like, hey, if you voted, you've got an option to post it onto Twitter. If you post it on Twitter, and you're following us, and you live in Japan, and a whole bunch of these other things, then you might be able to win one of 5, or like you might be one of 5 people who win this set of either both the re-release and the homework set, or one of them individually. It's hard to tell. I didn't look too far into it because we can't participate. Us English speakers mostly cannot participate unless we're in Japan, so it's kind of a moot point. But it does show off a little bit more of the re-release side of things. Stage 1 notably does have like the level 1 and the level 2s. And then it goes through, like, it collects them by stages, and you also have extras. That extra portion down there next to stage 10, those are actually the releases of the X8 forms that came in build. So even if something came out in a different, I guess, line, it got moved to their appropriate line. So definitely look through that as well. Like I said, links in the description down below. Anyways, that's not it for the blog, because they did give us a quick look at the Shodo Double Cross 2 set, and it's phenomenal. Like, here are the tops of the boxes. They wanted to say, hey, yeah, it's more attractive, and you can see it in the thing, blah, blah, blah. And here's everybody in a group shot together. There are a few notes that I did want to touch on. I'm not going to go fully in depth, but like I said, there are a few notes. Specifically with Double. Double here is not the Shodo versus release. It's been a while since then, but we've got a brand new mold, and here he is front and back. You'll notice that the paint work is like very extensive. It's painted in places where typically paint just doesn't go. Also, they wanted to mention that they did actually try doing a PVC crest for Double, and this is like the result of that, but they realized that's not good. We recognize that these warp. We recognize that the antenna warps in the packaging, and they want to mitigate that as much as possible. They know that you can, fix this up with a little bit of heat or just smoothing it out yourself, but they want it to be pristine. So what they've done with Double is that since he is a bit more of a, I guess, simple design when it comes to the crest, they decided to mold that all in ABS instead of PVC, so it is a solid plastic. The initial Shodo versus figures all had that ABS plastic antenna, which sucked because they ended up snapping. Now, Double, it seems to have like a very stable connection. It does look very thick, so I don't think that will happen. I don't think that they'll snap. I don't think there'll be fail points, but it is something to keep in mind since they swapped from ABS to PVC. I don't know yet, but I can't wait to get this in hand to find out. Also, like I said about the paint, here's this side of Cyclone, and they wanted to make mention, like, hey, we painted places that don't typically get painted. Like, this is the joint covered area that got painted. They painted the armpit. Like, it is technically an internal, and they would be forgiven for not painting it, but they said, hey, it's an internal, but it's visible, so we are going to paint that. Also, check out the leg. Like, they even painted that joint there. So there's a lot of paint that went into this guy. Thankfully, the other half of him is black, so that's black molded plastic, so that worked out for them in the long run. Here's Heat Metal. He's looking good. Luna Trigger. Both of these have one molded side. Like, obviously the yellow here is molded, and then the painted side is blue. That is shimmering and so delightful. I love that. Here's Axel. They said, or Excel. No, Axel. I said it right. Here's Axel. He is molded in red, but the shoulders and the head, that is actually painted in like a cherry red. I didn't really notice it until they pointed it out, but now I notice it, and it doesn't quite match, but I don't know. I would have at least liked to see the chest get a little bit of paint if they were going to do something cohesive that way, but what can you do? He has his blade. Now, this blade is available in the expanded part set. Heck, there are tons of things available in the expanded part set that I just sort of forgot to put in this presentation, if I'm honest. Double has a billowing cape. There's an extra version of Luna Trigger's gun. I think it's called the Trigger Magnum. There's also a heat metal stick that's in there, like an extra version, the longer version. But they also said, hey, he can get his hands around the driver and he can disconnect it and hold it to make it look like he's about to transform into the bike, but he does not actually transform into the bike, sadly. There's not been a figure of that since the initial release of the double form change figure, or WFC, yeah, double form change, and I believe the original model kit of this guy, the Figurize figure, that was way different than what Figurize is now. Either way, we haven't gotten a transforming one, nor have we just gotten him as a bike, so it'd be nice to get him as a bike at some point. Anyway, here are the two of them together, looking absolutely stunning. Yeah, and these guys are both going to be available in Double Cross 2. Available in Double Cross 2 as well is 02, and it's looking very, very good. You can obviously use the different hand options they give you to turn this, or I guess like use this as your Izu version, and that's honestly just how I'm gonna have it. This is my Izu figure. I will not be taking questions at this time. So it looks very good. Strangely, in the movie, I will note that both of them do this kick, and they do have that tread pattern. But on the opposing tread pattern, apparently they only had like one correct tread pattern, so they shared it between the two, and then the other tread pattern looked very different. That's not... I don't know that that's like an official thing, but if you go back in the movie, I saw it. That's what I saw. I don't know. Anyway... Here's, oh no, is this Bio Rider or Robo? No, this is Robo Rider. He's looking very good. This is the front and back. Like, he gets painted on the back, which is great. He comes with a gun in the expanded accessory set. And then here is Bio Rider. He actually comes with a sword in the expanded accessory set. And here they are with Black and Black RX. And this is the first time that Shodo's able to do this, because this is the first time they've ever made Bio Rider and Robo Rider. So this is very awesome. Anyways, like I said, this is basically out now. So definitely check your pre-orders and all that stuff. These are probably coming in. You probably got a notification that these are coming. So these are all great. Like I said, there's an accessory set alongside these 7 figures, so you're not going to be empty-handed if you end up getting a full set. But if you don't get a full set, you're going to have to track down that accessory set to get all the little goodies and all the weapons that these guys come with. Anyways, I do believe that's it. Yeah, I've cycled all the way back. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this episode. Like I said, next time we are going to be doing a fully Sentai episode, because there was just a lot to go in that. I also wanted to do a video all about the poll that went up for the homework stuff. I'm doing a video about it, and I'm going to go through sort of my picks and what I can expect. And I just really want to document that site, because that's probably not going to be up forever, and I just want to, I just want to have that documented somewhere in some capacity, however that may turn out. Also, hey, you might have noticed last week I didn't post a video. Turns out I caught the thing that, everyone's sort of catching right now. Bieber fever, that's right. But, I'm recovering now, and I really appreciate all the lovely comments that you guys sent to me when I announced it last week that I caught the thing. But now I am I'm fully good. I tested negative for Bieber Fever last night, so I'm good to go and hopefully going to be bringing you more content. But if you haven't had your fill of SODO content today and the video, the Sentai video is not up yet, hey, might I interest you in last week's SODO news where we got to talk about the actual Japan and actually get to see, you know, colorized versions of the Fi stuff. Anyways, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I had my ride key, whatever the 01 thing was, right in front of me just days ago, and now I don't. But I still would like you to keep it juicy. Oh, that's not right. Whew, how long was it? 25 minutes? Jeez. Okay. Boy, oh boy. These take a while. Oh.